Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Good evening, Hannah.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I am well, and how are you?
Good. Glad you're recovering a little bit.
Yes, I don't know what hit me over the past week or so, but it was something
I think
nasty.
it's something going around. It's been hitting a lot of people.
I was tested for COVID. It was not COVID, so I have no idea what it was.
Good. That's a good sign. I'm feeling fine. I've been feeling fine for a while, so I'm blessed.
Lucky.
The kids have been fighting some stuff here and there, but it's that time of year. Again, thank you for everybody for joining us here on the podcast or on YouTube, wherever you can find us. And then, of course, thank to our patrons. And we've got a new patron that just signed up this past week. Lenny, thank you, Lenny, for joining the Inside the Force Patreon.
Hi, Lenny.
Yes. Hi, Lenny. Enjoy the content there. As we say, we've got exclusive content that we only put up on Patreon. So you're not going to find it on YouTube or on the podcast feed. And then we've got our other shows like Beyond the Saga that me and Hannah do. And then we've got council sessions and Dark Knowledge and things like that we are on YouTube with. So at Inside the Force on YouTube as well. So again, thank you to our patrons. Keep going there again, and we'll get some more stuff on there. We've got trailer reactions that we've just done. Hannah's done some. We're going to get those up there as well. But on this episode, we're going to even get into more reactions to these trailers that we've got this past week. The ones we're talking about are The Bad Batch and Jedi Survivor, the video game continuation from Fallen Order. Excited. All right, but first, a couple things I wanted to mention on the news side. One, I believe, and I didn't really prep Hannah for this, but we have talked about this. I did want to talk about, even though it's not fully Star Wars related, it is Disney related. We haven't talked about the Bob Iger rehire on this show yet. For those of you that, if you haven't been following news, which it's been big news, Bob Chapek, the former CEO of Disney, of the Walt Disney Company, only lasted about 2 years. He was removed, and the former CEO, Bob Iger, who held the position for 15 years, is now back for the start of a 2-year contract to, in some articles I've read, basically get the company back on the right track. Now, a lot of people do feel like this is going to impact not only Disney, which is the main company, but also the subsidiary companies like Marvel and, of course, Lucasfilm, where Star Wars is. What does that mean? We don't know. I'm sure we'll find out in the coming weeks, months. But there are rumors circling around about Kathleen Kennedy's job. And, it was kind of already said before this happened that her contract's up at the middle of 2023 anyway. And not sure that she was going to be coming back anyway at that point. But some of the concern was that because we haven't had Star Wars movies in a while, was that the right decision to make? Are they putting too much into Disney Plus because Disney Plus is losing a bunch of money? I don't know. Hannah, we've talked about it a little bit. Bob Iger, what do you think about the move that Disney did?
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord is all I got to say. We already see Marvel taking a look at what they've been doing. And they said, hey, we actually want to redo a lot of things. We want to focus on quality over quantity. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that's the way Star Wars should go too. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that they're pumping out all these really cool things. Like we're about to talk about season 2 of The Bad Batch. We had Andor. We have Acolyte coming out. Like we have so many things coming. But I do believe in quality over quantity. Because for me, for Marvel, I've fallen out of Marvel because I'm just like, oh, this feels like a homework assignment just to try to keep up with everything.
Right.
And I don't want Star Wars to turn into that either. So if Iger returning means that Star Wars is going to maintain this idea that, hey, quality over quantity, I'm all for it. And if that also means, hey, we're going to pull back a bit on Disney Plus and we're going to get more Star Wars movies out there, especially in theaters, huge fan of that. So to me, I only see this going in one direction, and that's up. But what are your thoughts?
Well, and I think that's something we haven't really talked about. But so, do you feel like currently we're getting too much Star Wars?
I think we're getting close.
Okay.
We're not getting as ridiculous as Marvel has gotten, and I think everybody can agree it's been getting a little ridiculous.
Well, it's funny because I feel like luckily we haven't had Marvel overlap each other, which I think would get too bad. But there also isn't any other. There's no breaths in between. Like it feels like one's ending and the other. So I do believe that Marvel has done way too much in Phase 4 than they should have. But because you're right, I think there's some of those shows in there. I'm like, man, I could have done without that. But Star Wars, I think I do agree with you. I think I've been comfortable with it just because, I don't. It's funny because I don't want this much time in between like The Mandalorian right now, but I actually think it's helped. Mm-hmm. It's helped keep the show relevant for me and anticipate. My anticipation for it has been high versus it coming out every year. Mm-hmm. So, but I do think that I think they've made the right decisions of Star Wars because if you remember back, I think it was a year after Disney Plus came out. So I think it was 2020 when there was some investor call or whatever, and they revealed all these series that they were going to work on. You remember they had Rangers of the New Republic on there. They had Lando on there. They had this droid series on there. They had Rogue Squadron, the movie on there. They had all these things on there. And I remember seeing that board and I was thinking, wow, that's a lot. But we never got some of those. We only got the ones I feel like they focused on. So I feel like what they showed us was, here's what we're working on. Mm-hmm. But these are the ones we're actually going to put out there. And so I do think you're right. I think they're on the cusp. Like, honestly, the Skeleton Crew that's coming out next year, like that kind of came out of nowhere. It's one of those things where you're starting to see, are they rushing some things? Are they just throwing stuff in the pot just to kind of keep it relevant, keep Star Wars relevant? And then you look at the other side, which I know it's easier to produce and make, but I feel like they've pumped out so many comics and so many books. That's where I think it's hard to follow if you're an avid Star Wars fan like we are that wants to consume as much as possible. It's like, that's where I find it's starting to get really saturated.
I completely agree. I mean, when you first asked me to be a part of the podcast in general, I was like, all right, I'm going to stay on top of this. I'm going to get ahead of all those books. And then like 2 months later, I'm like, forget it.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. Like it's an avalanche.
Yeah.
But I think like the thing is that you have to keep in mind your average consumer.
Correct.
And to me,
which is mainly just the movies and the TV shows.
Right. And to me with Marvel, I was full on into it. But after like Loki was great. Moon Knight was great. But then when you get to the Eternals, when you get to She-Hulk, when you get to all of those, I'm like, even as a woman, I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
I still haven't finished Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness or whatever it's called. Like, I still haven't finished it because I'm like, this is awful. This is bad. Like,
yeah.
What? So I'm glad that Star Wars has not gotten to that point. But I feel like it was starting to get a little close to it. At least with regards to TV shows and movies. Now with books and comics, I'm just like, oi, which is why I think the High Republic is such a breath of fresh air, because it's something so different.
Yeah. But even that one, there's so much of it coming out. Like,
yeah.
It's hard to keep up. But again, like I'm not saying the quality's not there, you know,
right. No, but the quantity
is definitely high, and which tends to lead to the quality being diminished. But you know, in novels and books and things like that, like, you know, comics especially, like, you know, they're not, they're in different eras, they're different characters, you know, so you can kind of pick and choose what you really want, and you don't really need the other one to do this one, and so it makes it a little easier. Now with me, I just want to know everything, so it's just hard. It's so hard to keep up. I'm getting through it, but the movies and the TV stuff, I think some fans would argue too that they feel the movies haven't been as good. Like the Skywalker sequel and trilogy, and then of course what people feel like with Rogue One and with Solo, and it's like, you know, it's been a divided fandom in a sense, right? Some people like them, some people don't. But I still think both sides of the fandom still want Star Wars movies coming out.
Oh yeah.
And because they'll give it another chance. And it's been this December, it's been 3 years since the last movie, and it doesn't seem like they're in production on any. So it's at least going to be another 2 years till we get. It's just crazy to think that there's not going to be another Star Wars. But once Disney bought this thing, it's like, okay, now they have the backing to pump some movies out. And once a year, I didn't feel like it was a lot. I mean, Marvel's putting out 3 or 4 movies a year.
Well, they were doing 2 movies a year. When I was in college, they were doing 2 movies a year, which was the perfect amount.
Well, maybe I know they've gotten up to 3 movies a year. At least my freshman year. Yeah, I know they've gotten up to. I know they've gotten up to 3 before.
They have, and that was too much. 3 movies a year was just too much.
I don't think 3 was that bad, because again, most of them were continuing the kind of a little bit of the story, but they were all kind of separate stories too. Because you would have, like, you know, Ragnarok come out, and then you would have Guardians of the Galaxy come out. So it's like, yeah, parts of them, but it was brilliant though, the first 3 phases, because it led up to, Endgame. But anyway, Star Wars, like the plan was they were gonna put out 1 a year, and they were gonna be these Star Wars stories. And I mean, I don't know. I 1 a year would have been exciting, to that build up each year. That event that you would get all your friends and their family to go do. I just felt like that was going to be a regular thing, and that's what they wanted to do. But they got scared when Solo bombed. That they couldn't sustain that. So
I feel like Iger's going to bring that back, though.
I definitely think so too, because I think he's a big proponent of the creative people. I think his big achievement. Well, he had several big achievements, obviously, but his outgoing achievement was Disney Plus. That was the thing he was building up towards, and then, and I don't think. I don't know. I don't know if they. I don't know what their. I mean, they hit their subscription goals sooner than they wanted to, but for some reason, they're just not making money from it yet. So there's all this talk about there's a new price plan popping up here soon. Did you hear that I think they're adding this like Hulu, they're adding like ads to it, and you can pay to remove the ads. So it's like, they're figuring out ways to try to recoup some more money. So hopefully he's pretty business savvy. Bob Iger is. So, but to me, it's, to me, I hope there's a lot that goes on with Disney as far as like the parks and stuff goes. But when you're focusing on, or if we're just focusing on Star Wars, I do think that, I think you're right. I do think they need to get a movie out, and I think they're okay with the slate of stuff that's coming out on Disney Plus right now. I think it's, besides Skeleton Crew, which I'm a little I don't know anything about it, but Bad Batch, the continuing Bad Batch is really good. Obviously, Mandalorian is great. Ahsoka makes sense. And then, of course, Acolyte. I hear nothing. People are going crazy about this. Can't wait for this thing. So, yeah. So I think they're on a good track, but I do think Disney needed Iger to come back.
Desperately. Oh, my word. Desperately.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. We'll see in the coming weeks what that means for Lucasfilm, but I hope a movie announcement is coming soon. Okay. Before we get into the trailer stuff, the Bad Batch, of course, the trailer came out, and then new poster came out, which is kind of generic. It just shows our heroes, minus Crosshair's not on it. No one else is on it. It's just the crew with Omega. And then they actually released the entire schedule of releases of all the episodes.
Oh, seriously?
You didn't see that?
I did not.
Yeah, so the full list and the air dates are as follows. Premiere is, of course, January 4th, and we're getting 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. So we're getting episode 201, which is Spoils of War, and 202, which is Ruins of War. And then a week later, 203 is the Solidarity Clone. A week later, on the 18th, 204, Faster. January 25th, 205, Entombed. And then a week later, on February 1st, called Tribe. And then on February 8th, 2 episodes, The Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. Mm-hmm. A week later, the 15th, The Crossing, which is episode 9. A week later, the 22nd, episode 10, Retrieval. And then March 1st, which everybody should know that date because that's also the premiere of season 3 of Mandalorian. So we'll have that and episode 11, Metamorphosis, from the Bad Batch. March 8th, you'll have The Outpost. March 15th, Pabu. March 22nd, episode 14, Tipping Point. And then March 29th will be the final 2 episodes of season 2, The Summit, and then episode 216 is Plan 99.
16 episodes. Wow. Okay.
16 episodes, just like last season.
Yeah. Still, that's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. So 16 episodes, 3 weeks, you will get 2 episodes. But overall, this thing will wrap up March 29th. So it will overlap with The Mandalorian for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Dang.
So
brace yourselves for some long Inside the Force episodes.
That's right. That is right. So that's the premiere date, which is January 4th. That's the list. You can find that on StarWars.com. It's right there with the article that shows the trailer and all that. So, all right. So that's that. We'll get into the trailers here. First up, publication releases here coming up. Nothing in the novels until January 3rd, which is the High Republic's The Battle of Jeddah, but that is an audio drama release. The script book of that's not coming out till later. Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars, the book that takes place between the two games, will be out March 7th. The High Republic Cataclysm, April 4th. The High Republic Path of Vengeance, May 2nd. And then Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade, July 18th. Comics this past week, Hidden Empire #2 dropped. Next week, Bounty Hunters 29, Mandalorian #6. And then you've got nothing until the end of the month, which is December 28th. 5 books out that week. Dr. Aphra 27, Han Solo and Chewbacca #8, High Republic #3, Yoda #2, and the High Republic The Blade #1, debuting at the end of the year, December 28th. So again, lots of content out there for you on the publication side.
Yeah.
Okay. Hannah, let's dive into the Bad Batch. Just continue talking about that.
All right.
This is the second trailer. We got a teaser trailer, of course, back in, I think it was Celebration earlier this year. Here we go. Bad Batch Season 2 trailer. What did you think?
I am so excited. I mean, just the fact that we get Cody in there, and Cody, we start to see him start. Okay, so here's the thing. With the whole trailer, it seems like there are various different directions this could go. We don't know which direction it will go, and I love that. I love the fact that we don't get those hints necessarily, like a complete laid out version of this is what it's going to be. I absolutely love that. We see so many familiar faces in there that we didn't expect, like Gunji.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we get Gunji is insane. The fact that Wanda Sykes is in this is like it's so exciting for me. Tawny Ames, and then Commander Cody. So I think there's a lot of crossover potential. And I know that there's been a lot of opinion articles out there saying the reason why they have Wanda Sykes doing this new character is because there's a potential for her to do a live action version of this character, which
interesting.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of articles about that because I was like, have we seen this character in anything else? And then there were a bunch of articles saying, oh, this is a potential for a live action of Wanda Sykes. And I was like, okay, doesn't answer my question, but interesting thought. So I'm just really excited about this. The fact that we get a lot of teases of where it can go, but we don't necessarily know where it's going to go is very exciting for me. So we'll see. What were your initial thoughts?
Well, I will admit, and I said this in my trailer reaction on Patreon, is I think the first viewing, when I first saw it, wasn't that excited, actually. I'm excited to watch the series, definitely. I love the first season. And of course I was going to watch this, but this trailer didn't, a lot of cool action, but it just didn't. There wasn't really a hook for me in this that usually I look for and I get out of trailers. After watching it a few times, yes, it's gotten better. It's definitely gotten me more interested a little bit here and there. But I wanted to, or I kind of expected, I feel like, to see something that's, again, it doesn't have to tell you what it's going to be, but it's, I was waiting to see something that was, a little bit about where this journey is going to take our guys. Right. And I think, after watching it a few more times, the only thing that's really got me hooked on that now is the fact that we see Bail Organa. I think.
Really?
Yes. I think with Bail in there, I think we're going to start seeing, and then of course this hint at Gungi being in here. I do think there's going to be some kind of connection with Bail to start actually either recruiting or getting into saving Jedi somehow. I think there's going to be a little bit of that where that goes. So that's the subtleness I think that this trailer is giving after watching it several, because I didn't really get that the first time. But
you didn't get that with what Cody was saying when Cody said not all the clones agree with the order against the Jedi. You didn't get that with that line or whatever line he said at that point.
He says what? He doesn't say anything about the Jedi.
I thought he said something about the Jedi.
He says not all clones agree with what the Empire is doing or something like that.
Yes, but that still aligns with the Jedi.
Well, and then Crosshair says, then like the Jedi, they're traitors. But he's not saying anything about the Jedi.
Okay, I guess maybe like I've always paralleled Order 66 with the Jedi, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, Order 66 was meant to take out the Jedi, yes.
Right. So I guess maybe I just kind of jumped to that conclusion then. So, wow. So Bail Organa was what made you go,
oh, yeah. Huh. Yeah. So yeah, because if they're on the run, which they have been since season 1, they're going nowhere near the core worlds.
That brings up a whole tangent that I'll bring up later. But my question is, like, what would you prefer then for a trailer? Do you want a trailer to kind of point you in the right direction, or do you want it to be ambiguous?
Well, I think the point of trailers is to show you what the story is about, right? I mean, the trailer is just that, right? It kind of highlights in 2 minutes where are, what the point of the movie is or the show is, and then here are some exciting scenes that'll get you, pumped about seeing this thing.
Huh.
So in this, I just felt like it's a lot of great action, but again, the dialogue is something that I feel like we've already heard in the first season.
Okay.
Because we know in the first season that the whole thing about the first season was what happened to our guys, what happened to, why is this happening? And then of course they find out that these chips are doing it to them.
Right.
And Cody is obviously still, even though he says that, he still says later on that, the Empire is for peace, or, he still is messed up. So Cody, yes, I think there's something there too. We don't know what happens to Cody. That's the one thing, we know what happens to Rex. We don't know what happens to Cody. So does he get saved? Does he tragically meet his doom? I think that's another one of those wrap ups that Filoni never got to do with the Clone Wars. That's why he's back in Bad Batch. And then of course there's that one shot of the Palpatine. It's like, what are they saying there? Is Palpatine somehow going to be involved in this series, this season?
We did see Bail Organa.
I know, and that's what makes me think we're going to get a little more into the political side and a little more into the building of the rebellion a little bit from the Bail Organa side. So, which I'm excited about. I would be excited about that. But but again, that stuff didn't happen till the end of this trailer. So the beginning, I'm like, in the middle, I'm like, okay, they're jumping, they're doing missions again. Sid's still around. They're still kind of hanging out at Sid's and getting missions to go. So, I don't know. Again, I'm excited based on what I think I see in this thing, but I could be totally misinterpreting this also.
Only time will tell at this point.
Yeah. But if I gotta believe that if Filoni's involved, there's gonna be Jedi involved in this.
We already know there's a Jedi involved.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we see him. I don't think. I mean, do you think he's going to be part of the show, or he's only in like one episode?
I don't know.
Oh, I think he's only in one episode.
I think he's only in one episode, but that does bring up this question, and it's this observation that I kind of just only recently realized. Is it weird that the majority of the Jedi that survived, I think there's only like a handful of Jedi Masters, if that have survived, but the majority are Padawans.
I think Obi-Wan and Yoda are the only Masters that survived.
No. You had the Master in Jedi Fallen Order. What's her name?
But she wasn't.
She was a Master. She had Padawans.
But did she? Okay, I might have to revisit that. I thought maybe she had left the Order.
She left
prior to Order 66.
Did she leave prior? I thought she left after Order 66.
Well, everybody left.
I thought she lost hope in the Jedi after Order 66. And then we also had the Librarian. But everybody else is Padawans. All of a sudden, these Padawans survive?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that not weird? Or am I just?
I don't know. I think they. Well, for one, I think it really depends on where they were. I mean, like with Kanan or Caleb Doom or whatever. He was. We know now he was kind of saved by his master, and the Bad Batch. I mean, they kind of saved him in a sense,
right?
Gungi, and then of course Cal Kestis was saved by his master as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, a lot of them did get killed, obviously too. So, I mean, I guess in the short answer is yes. We're finding out. We're even just the bottom line. We're finding out more and more Jedi actually did survive than originally thought of. I think, but how many of them actually, live long enough to make it,
or don't switch to the dark side?
Right, because some of them did that too. Yeah, they turned into Inquisitors. So, I think again, I keep thinking like, what would I want to see these guys do? I think it would be cool to see them, try to help save Jedi versus like the Inquisitors going out and hunting Jedi. I think that would be a cool contrast, but then like, I don't know if that's, I don't know if they're thinking like I do, and then that's what they want to see. But
that's the beauty of this, is that we don't know where it's going to go. So we get to discover what that road is.
Well, sure. Of course. Yeah.
But you would rather them give a better hint as to what.
I just think a little more. Again, we're seeing glimpses of Gungi, and we're seeing glimpses of Bail, and we're seeing glimpses of the Emperor, which again hint at where it does hint at where the story goes as far as where it could go. I think that usually what you learn in the dialogue a little bit more is what are our guys facing? Because they didn't really say anything in this. It was really Cody and Crosshair. And it's like, what are our guys? Our guys that look like they're just getting the next mission. Where are they? What's Omega? It's like anything about her. There's still this, at least I think there's still this question about like, why was she made? And she's the Omega. Like, are they ever gonna? I don't know if it's meant to ever run into the Alpha, which was Boba Fett, but it's like Omega. Why was she made? Is there a story there still? I think there is. I think there's.
Oh yeah.
So Kamino the last thing we saw was Kamino being destroyed.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions out there. something more about them is what I was kind of looking for.
Okay.
But, that's just me.
No, totally get that.
So
we'll see.
But, again, that it could be all purpose. It could be that there's some major stuff that happens and they don't want to tease it. I get that too. So, but overall, look, pumped about the series. Can't wait. I'm going to watch it every Wednesday morning. So, yeah.
Wednesday morning. What time do you wake up? What time do you wake up in the morning?
Well, I wake up at 7 to take Sam to school every morning.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
So but on Wednesdays when there's shows, we get up at 6:30 and watch. Both of us get up early and watch, and then she gets ready, and then I get ready, and then I take her to school. Yeah, we're committed on Wednesdays when there's shows going on.
Well, kudos for you all.
She did Andor. We've done every Marvel show and every Star Wars show.
Jeez, in the morning I'm like, it's 7:45. Okay, I have just enough time to work out and then shower and then go to work.
Yeah, no. Watching shows, then getting ready for work. Okay, so that's the Bad Batch season 2 trailer. Let's move on to the other trailer that dropped. There's I think there was a gaming convention that's happening right now, and that's why all these game trailers are coming out. And one of them is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is the game that takes place 5 years after the first game, which is ironic because it's almost been 5 years since that game came out. It's been 3 years, but Survivor takes place 5 years after Jedi Fallen Order, which takes place 5 years after Order 66, meaning that this is 10 years later, meaning that it takes place at the same time as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, so this was, it was one of those ones where I believe, if I remember correctly, the teaser trailer that came out was all the kind of the cinematic 3D animation type trailer. This is what they call the reveal trailer, so it shows some of the gameplay and some of the story. So yeah, now you've played the first game, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. All right, so you're excited. Tell us what you thought about this.
It feels like they listened to the fans, is all I got to say, because the first game felt very much like these are the Padawan Jedi moves that you learn. If that gameplay is true, if it's true and not altered, holy crap, there are some pretty cool things you get to do, and some of them sure are associated more with the dark side, but doesn't necessarily mean you're choosing the dark path. I'm so excited for this game, and it's like there's a Han Solo-esque character that's involved. I mean, come on, this looks like it's going to be such a true Jedi fun game.
Yes, I'm excited. The gameplay and just the cinematography looks incredible. Yes. There's that shot about 25 seconds in. It's kind of that wide shot of this canyon, and like there's this, looks like some kind of space station up in the sky, and it's like, man, the sun's kind of in the back. Is just gorgeous. I mean, yeah, I think this was a great trailer. I think it gets you excited. It does tell you a little bit of what's going on here. A couple things that stood out to me mainly was this shot with Cera. Is it Cera, right?
I think so.
Cera, I think it's Cera. I think it's either pronounced Sarah or Cera. Sarah. But anyway, it was really jarring to me because I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like the Jedi archives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but that's not Coruscant. So is she recreating it, or is this like a secret archive somewhere else? And it's like, wow, I mean, that's a lot of data.
Well, it has been 5 years.
You're right. It has been. And they did get the holocron, right? Yeah, you do get the holocron at the end of the last game.
If you succeed.
If you succeed, that's right. So yeah, I like her look. She's kind of getting back into the game a little bit, So, so there's that for sure. I think that was a really cool reveal, and something that kind of shows that they are working together as a group, as a family. There is that shot of the ship actually crash landing, so obviously that's probably something at the first of the game or something like that kind of kicks this thing off. But yeah, the animals, like the creatures, the interaction, that was pretty cool.
That was. I just also love the fact that once again we're expanding upon the Force.
Totally.
We are pushing the boundaries. The fact that we see a scene where you can force pull a stormtrooper to you, turn them around so they're firing upon their team. That's insane. What blew my mind even more, and what I loved, and I can't remember if this was in Jedi Fallen Order. I know we kind of teased that this was possible in The Last Jedi with Kylo Ren using the Force to turn on his saber so that it impaled Snoke. But the fact that he's able to kind of boomerang his lightsaber and then get it back, I just love that. I love that so much.
I know. Yeah, he seems pretty powerful, Cal Kestis.
Also, looks-wise, he totally Neville Longbottomed.
Yes. Totally.
He totally has. But this is going to be a fun game.
I think so, yeah. And the first game really introduced, like you said, a lot more Jedi lore. We learned a lot more about different temples, and we learned more about the Night Sisters. I mean, there was a lot of stuff we learned in the first game, and you're right. I think we're going to even learn more in this game about different locations, more reasons for what he's doing, whatever that may be. I'm assuming you're not going after another holocron. I'm assuming there's other missions that come up. I mean, and the fact that the Empire has to probably know about this guy by now.
I mean, the Sarah immediately says, well, it looks like you're the public enemy number one.
Right. Which is, if you think about timeline, I mean, Obi-Wan is just as wanted right now still.
But I think that plays into the fact because, I voiced this to you. I can't remember if we talked about it on Inside the Force or not, but I voiced my concern to you about the fact that, shoot, what's her name? What number sister? Third sister in Obi-Wan?
Yeah, Reva.
Yeah, Reva.
Yeah, I think she's third sister, yeah.
The fact that she knew that Anakin was Darth Vader. To me, that was very concerning regarding the continuity of the story of Star Wars, because no one was supposed to know that Vader was Anakin. That's so crucial. So to me, it feels like only a select few know how important it is to get Obi-Wan. So the fact that Cal, during the time of Obi-Wan, is public enemy number one, helps support the fact. I don't know. Like, that's just, that's where I am with it.
Yep.
To me, it helps kind of cover up that sort of plot hole, but not really plot hole.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like a lot of these Jedi that are popping up. I always kind of had this first thought of, well, at some point they have to die.
Yeah.
Because they're not around by the time we get to the original trilogy, or if they are, they're for some reason not participating in the war.
Or they're in their own little pocket, completely separate from everything else. So.
Yeah, or they could completely checked out, like kind of like Ahsoka did, I guess, in a sense, because she survived all the way through and didn't get involved, even though she was involved for a little while. But yeah, I think this 10 years in, there's still not we obviously know too that there's some pockets of rebellion going on, but no one's organized anything yet. Bail and Mothma are still kind of, fighting it within the Senate. But I don't think, this doesn't seem like it's going to get anywhere near the political side of Star Wars. This is truly the Jedi side of it, right?
That would be such a boring video game if it was just politics. I'm sorry. Well,
true. Yeah, no, that's why you can't, right? So,
but that does kind of lead to the idea of I keep on bringing Andor into this, but it's so recent. It's like, wow, how long did it take for them to get this rebellion completely organized?
Oh, it took a long time.
Yeah. Right. So it's just, yeah.
It took like 16, 17 years, yeah. So
that's a long time.
It is.
I mean, but who knows? Maybe we see Saw again. Maybe we see Organa in this game. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's partially the reasoning too. I'm saying that is because if he's public enemy number one, more than likely, I mean, it's pretty much a certainty, right, that senators like Mothma and Bail would know about him as well, right? Just because he's on the wanted list.
Right.
And would there be a reason that he tries to get a hold of him and tries to recruit him or whatever, because he's sympathetic to the Jedi. So it wouldn't be surprising if he shows up in the game just to kind of be that recruiter in a sense, but I don't think that's the direction they're going to go with this series.
And it could be they're like, okay, well, that's good to know he's causing chaos there.
Right, yeah.
Let's figure out what the heck we're doing first. Because I feel like that's also kind of the way they're treating Saw currently in Andor. It's just kind of like he's doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All these pockets are doing their own thing. Let's figure out what we're doing here first. And then we'll worry about everything else. So that could be it too.
Yep, that definitely could be it.
I guess we'll find out.
Yep, we'll find out. But I love it.
Yes, absolutely.
Cannot wait for that. So the big reveal, obviously, is that this thing comes out now on March 17th, 2023. We already got done telling you that the book, Jedi Battle Scars, comes out 10 days before that on March 7th. So you want to get the book, kind of read up, because that takes place before this game. So I'm not going to have time. There's no way you may be able to. I'm not going to have 10 days to get through that. Maybe I can start the audiobook.
Challenge accepted.
You read a lot faster than I do, so I'll probably try to listen to it in those 10 days. I could maybe try that, because that would be, I wonder, it probably won't have an impact on the game, obviously, but it will probably have an impact on the interaction that these crew members are having. Because I think that story is supposed to be more about the cohesiveness and the family unit and all that stuff. Because you've got Sarah, you've got the and her name already escapes me.
The
Night Sister, and then you got the pilot, then you got BD, obviously. So you got this group of people now, and they've been running around the ship for 5 years now, and this Battle Scars book is just a mission or something that happens on there, and then you got this game. So you got a lot going on with these characters, which is pretty cool. So
good stuff.
Yep, there you go. March 17th, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and then, of course, on January 4th, the beginning of Season 2 for The Bad Batch. got some Star Wars coming here in a few weeks. Exciting. All right. That'll do it for Inside the Force this week. Again, thank you to everybody for listening, for watching. Go to any podcast feed to get the show. Go to YouTube for our additional shows. And, of course, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Inside the Force if you want to join there and get additional content from Hannah and myself, of course. All right. Hannah, have a great weekend.
You too.
Yes. We will talk to everybody later. We will see everybody next week. Take care. May the Force be with you.